Eileen Rosenthal, who is the General Counsel of the Software Publishers Association, Dawn Wiener, President of the Video Software Dealers Association, and Craig Johnson, who is the past President of the Amusement and Music Operators Association. We thank all of you for coming here, and we look forward to your testimony. Now that we're having technical difficulties with the lighting system. The green light is not working. There'll be, I guess, a yellow light flashing when you're heading to the end of your 5 minutes. And okay, we're actually going to try to change the bulbs here. There's a joke here somewhere, but we'll decide on it later. Mr. Lincoln, why don't you begin?
Thank you, Senator. Senator Cole, Senator Lieberman, Senator Dorgan. I appreciate the opportunity to appear before you to discuss this issue of violence in video games. Nintendo is just as concerned about the issue of violence, whether in movies, television, or video games, as anyone in this room. Of course, every entertainment executive tells Congress that, but Nintendo can back it up. In the mid-1980s, when Nintendo entered the video game business in this country, the issue of violence in video games was not in the public's eye. But just like today, there was a computer software industry selling video games, and some of these games contained excessive violence and pornographic material. We didn't want Nintendo's name associated with this kind of product. Even then, we were concerned about game content. So in 1985, when we launched our first Nintendo home video game system, we made a conscious business decision not to allow excessively violent, sexually explicit, or other offensive games in our system. We incorporated a patented security chip in all Nintendo hardware and software, and this enabled us to review and approve the content of all video games played on Nintendo's hardware, either video games sold directly by Nintendo or games marketed by our approximately 70 independent third-party licensee companies. Nintendo has video game guidelines which control game content, and we've applied these to every one of the more than 1,200 games released into the marketplace by Nintendo and its licensees. Using these guidelines, we prohibit a number of things, including sexually suggestive or explicit content, random, gratuitous, or excessive violence, graphic illustration of death, excessive force in sports games, ethnic, racial, religious, nationalistic, or sexual stereotypes, profanity or obscenity, or the use of illegal drugs. And over the last 8 years, these guidelines have kept an enormous amount of offensive material, including excessive violence, out of American homes. And specific examples are contained in the statement that I've submitted to you. Of course, our game guidelines are not perfect and may not answer everyone's concerns. After all, video games are a form of entertainment covering everything from education to the martial arts. But I must say that we have made a good faith effort to keep offensive material off our game systems, and we intend to continue applying our game guidelines in the future. In the past year, some very violent and offensive games have reached the market. And of course, I'm speaking about Mortal Kombat and Night Trap. And let me say that for the record, I want to state that Night Trap will never appear on a Nintendo system. Obviously, it would not pass our guidelines. This game